Welcome to Eat More Football, the show that satisfies your craving for hot takes. Here we are, episode 10. We have made it so far, guys. Just starting from the ground up, just the progression of the show. It's been amazing. Episode 10. I'll put the party horn sound effects. Let's do it. So let us get right into it. Let's have fun with This Week in Sports. All right, nothing much happened this week in sports prior to game day this Saturday. So we will be touching on some much needed recruiting updates because we haven't done that since like episode 2. So we'll go back to that. So I'll read just the top 10. Not a whole lot of movement, but just a little bit. Number 1, Alabama. 2, Georgia. 3, Notre Dame. 4, Oklahoma. 5, Ohio State. 6, Texas. 7, LSU. 8, Florida. 9, Clemson. 10, Tennessee. Everyone from LSU and up to Alabama at number 1 has 283 points or more. And then there's kind of a steep drop-off with Florida at 266 and then Clemson at 264. And Florida makes that jump. We were at number 11 outside the top 10 until we got commitments from 4-star safety Dijon Robinson and 3-star safety Bryce Thornton. And that's what catapulted us over Tennessee and Clemson. So that's a good win for Florida in recruiting at least. So, and everything's pretty much stayed the same other than that. All right. Next, additions to the AP poll. ESPN is being stupid for me yet again, so I'll be reading this off of Fan Nation, whatever that is. Nondescript college football website. So number 1, Georgia. 2, Ohio State. 3, Tennessee. So Tennessee was number 6, going from number 6 to 3. Michigan 4, Clemson 5, Alabama going down to 6. So Tennessee and Alabama switching spots. Ole Miss at 7, TCU entering the top 10 at number 8. Number 9, UCLA. Number 10, Oregon. 11, Oklahoma State. 12, USC. 13, Wake Forest. 14, Syracuse on a roll. I think they jumped up 4 spots from number 18, maybe. I think that's where they were.
Wake Forest?
Or Syracuse.
Yeah, they moved up 4 spots.
Number 15, Utah. 16, Penn State, moving down 6 after a blowout loss to Michigan. Number 17, Kansas State. 18, Illinois. 19, Kentucky. 20, Texas. 21, Cincinnati. 22, North Carolina. Back in the top 25. I think this is the first week since like week 1 that they've been back in the top 25. I'm not sure if I'm
sure.
right on that,
maybe.
But, number 23, NC State. 24, Mississippi State. And 25, entering the top 25, Tulane Green Wave. What have they been doing? I don't know. Who knows? So we will keep you updated on AP poll maybe from week to week. Maybe we'll start doing that. So with that, let's move on quickly to Week 7 recap. I mean, this week was nuts. I think we can all agree, this is probably the craziest week in college football this season, in my opinion. I mean, I think I stand by that. So I got my list of games right here that we're going to talk about. Not sponsored by iPhone at all, because they'll get all over you for that. But all right, so let's start right into it. Number 13, TCU hangs on to beat number 8, Oklahoma State in overtime, 43-40. What do you guys have on that?
Well, good QB matchup. Spencer Sanders, Max Duggan. Eventually, Max Duggan got the best of them for 286 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's a good game. Quentin Johnson also played really well. So close win, but I'm glad I picked TCU.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and I've been high on Oklahoma State, and they played that way for about 2.5 quarters. They were up 30, well, actually about 3 quarters. They were up 30-16 in the 4th quarter, and then blew it and let TCU come back and win it. And to be quite honest with you, I think Spencer Sanders is a good quarterback, but he really struggled in that second half. He was throwing off his back foot, not stepping into passes. So I don't know what happened, but they kind of fell apart. And I think that's been a little bit of Gundy's teams in the past where they get out and then they let teams come back and don't quite finish the way they should. So it was a little bit disappointing as someone who picked Oklahoma State to go to the number 4 spot in the playoff.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next, Michigan State dominating win over Penn State. Final score was, I didn't write it down, but it was in the 40s to 17. I think it was 40.
Drop the state. Drop the state.
Just Penn.
No, you said Michigan State.
Are you serious? Did I say Michigan State? Hey, we all know Michigan State this year would not.
They did get a win, though.
But
Michigan State did get a win.
Michigan State did get. I picked Wisconsin, so that meant nothing to me.
Me too.
Anyways, Michigan dominant over Penn State. I think it was like 41 to 17, 47-17, something like that.
Yeah.
And we'll update you on the score of that whenever. Blake Corum for Heisman. Anybody? Huh? Because, I mean, he is just an outstanding running back. I honestly think the best in college football. 41 to 17 was the final score on that. J.J. McCarthy, 17 for 24. Over 200 yards. Nope, not over 200 yards. 145 yards, 1 interception. So not a perfect game by J.J. McCarthy, but it got the job done. Michigan dominated first downs. 28 to 10. And they also dominated time of possession, having the ball for 41 minutes, almost 42. And then, they dominated the amount of total yards, too, because they had 563 to Penn State's 268. Come on, Michigan State. Or I said Michigan State again. So
Again.
Disregard that. I don't know. I guess I'm on the Mel Tucker on this one. So I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. I'm trying to find Blake Corum, 28 carries, 166 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. His longest run was 61 yards, which Donovan Edwards actually beat out those stats, who's their, I guess, starting running back. So both running backs had a phenomenal game. Anyways, we'll move on from that discussion.
Let me say one thing about that game. I saw a thing where Penn State and Michigan got into it in the tunnel, like at halftime or something like that. I guess there was some barking in the tunnel. And Ohio State did the same thing, supposedly, like last year. Both games are really, really close at half, and then Michigan just blew them out. So the tweet was, stop getting into fights with Michigan at halftime, because basically they're going to blow you out after that, which makes sense.
Yeah, seriously. Fired up, definitely, especially at home in Ann Arbor. You better watch out. All right.
Penn State, one thing. You cannot win the game when your leading rusher is your quarterback and only has 74 yards.
And especially when that quarterback is Sean Clifford, who is like
cannot run
200 pounds.
Old man.
Yeah, like seriously. So, all right, Noah, I'll skip over this one and we'll touch it later. But Boss Hog offense exists against BYU, apparently. Still no defense. Final score 52 to 35. What? I guess I'll say it. I'll say it this week. Yes, sir. In Utah. Who knows? I guess
644 yards of offense. Wow.
That's, my goodness. That's not very Arkansas-like. They were all defense a couple years ago. So who knows? All right. Number 20, Utah upsets number 7, USC. Final score 43 to 42. USC is no longer undefeated. And does this mean new conference championship hopes for Utah? Are they reinstilled? They're a 2-loss team, but they still got some chance in the Pac-12 to win the conference. So
Pac-12 is wide open now.
It is, yeah.
Definitely.
NIL money cannot buy you everything, Lincoln Riley. That's what I'll say. And maybe I can find the picture of Caleb Williams, where he's like in tears or something after the game. It's so depressing. It's so petty. That's what happens when you are winning and then you lose one. Anyways,
I would know.
I might have thrown that comment in on purpose. Anyways, but I can't be talking because LSU beats Florida for the 4th freaking year in a row. My God. Like a drum. They beat us like a drum. They beat us like Drago beat Apollo Creed in Rocky IV.
Oh, killed him.
Yes, he killed him. So Yeah, we're now 1-3 in the SEC. Florida has no defense, which is not actually true. We have a phenomenal front line. Like, if you look at the amount of rushing yards that we allowed, it was under 100, or I think it was just maybe a little above 100.
Nope.
But it's
179 yards.
okay. Well, that's not as
Well.
good as I thought. Not as good as I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it's not great.
But our front line was looking really good. We were having a lot of good pressure on the quarterback, which is much improved from, the past rest of the season. But we have no secondary. Like, all our safeties and cornerbacks are just, they're so much distance between our safeties and cornerbacks and their wide receivers and outfield guys. Like,
Wait,
it's just insane.
You're talking about Florida LSU or Alabama Tennessee?
Yeah, it might as well have been the same
Okay,
game.
Mr. Navy can't score 2 points a game over here.
We scored 34, and most of it was because garbage time.
But anyways, Florida has I don't know what we can do. There's only so much of Billy Napier saying we need to work on discipline and focus that I can take. I understand it will take time. But this is atrocious defense. I'm going to pull up the stat real quick while we're discussing this game. So, guys, just talk about your thoughts on that. Craig, tell me what you think.
At least they didn't lose the game because they threw a shoe. So that's all I really can say. But Brian Kelly, I gave him a good shot preseason, thought they were going to be decent because I think he's a really good football coach. He gets a bad rap, I think, for some of the things, how kind of quirky he is. The bottom line is, whether the players like him or not, typically he gets the most out of his players on the field. And I don't know what happens off the field, but he's a very smart football coach, and I think is a very good football coach. And I'll be honest, I was shocked to see LSU go in and beat Florida like they beat them. Number one, I thought Florida would win the game, but beat them like they did. It wasn't even really that close for most of the game, it seemed like.
No, yeah, definitely. So I have a couple of stats here. Jaden Daniels was 33 for 32, 349 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's just unacceptable. Anthony Richardson actually didn't have an awful game. 15 for 25, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, which is an improvement for, his standards. Anthony Richardson was our leading rusher for 109 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a tremendous 81-yard run. I'm definitely going to put that one up here because it was insane. But LSU led pretty much the entire game. Pretty much the whole second half of the game was all LSU. It's just insane. And LSU's band, they're just so disrespectful. They were playing all their whatever that they were playing during Tom Petty Won't Back Down between the third and fourth quarter. Like, that is so awful. Like, that's just disrespectful. Like, you don't interrupt the whole team's tradition, like, just so you can be stupid. And then they started taking their shoes off and clapping their shoes together because they're dumb, I guess. I
guess you can do whatever you want when you go into somebody's place and beat them, though, really.
I guess, yeah. But, we fought hard at the end. A bad roughing the passer penalty, which should not have been called. Like, I pride myself on being pretty impartial to, like, if we get a penalty, that's our fault. But this one probably shouldn't have been called. I'll flash it up there. I'll make a point to flash that one up there. Brenton Cox really didn't lay into him that hard. And I saw in the Utah game, it was like the exact same play, and they called a roughing the passer on it or something, some game.
Noah, do you agree with that? TJ thinks he's impartial when it comes to Florida and the refs. Every week it's the refs are terrible at the Florida game.
Okay. The refs are bad.
Never impartial.
The refs are bad.
Refs are bad. Florida's got booked.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing the refs are bad.
We shot ourselves
impartial.
He's not impartial.
We shot ourselves in the foot. But you watch the play and you tell me if that should be roughing the passer. And I'll leave it up to you guys.
I don't doubt it was a bad call, I'm sure.
Because it was not a good call. And that's the reason why because it was an interception too. And then we got a roughing the passer call on that interception. So that really would have given us a better chance to get set up and possibly tie the game. But I'll stop being petty. We will go on to the next
Okay.
game very quickly because I don't want to run too long. Notre Dame still stinks. They're upset by Stanford. Stanford, this was their first FBS win this season. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on. The big game. Number 3, Alabama, upset by number 6, Tennessee, 52-49. Missed kick by Will Reichard, the best kicker in college football.
Not this year.
Is what
Not this
Noah
year.
has said in the past. Tennessee's first time beating Nick Saban ever.
This is an atrocity to every single Alabama fan's emotions ever. I can't believe. First of all, how do you go down 28-10 in half? Secondly, 34. What are you doing, man? Just grabbing the football out of nowhere? You know you're going nowhere with it. Just because we actually stopped them on that drive. And thirdly, where is our secondary? Oh my goodness. Hyatt and Hooker, oh my goodness, destroyed us. I'm at a loss for words. I can't comprehend anything that my brain is telling me to say.
Yeah, there you go, Craig.
No,
Smoking that Bama pack. Smoke
That's
that
not
Bama
right.
pack right there.
Third Saturday
right.
in September. First of all, disclaimer: this is not
October?
opened.
September. You said
October.
September. Craig.
October.
Must be this cigar that I just put in my mouth. This is not open, children. We shouldn't. Don't do these. Okay, this is not good for your health. All right. So all those Tennessee people who are smoking these, bad people. Okay. All right. I was pulling for Alabama. I'll be the first to tell you that. And back and forth, great game. One for the ages. Will be ESPN Classic instantly. But like Noah said, too many mistakes.
Penalties.
And
Penalties. That is what cost Alabama the game. Tennessee played better. Refs, they did make some bad calls, and I'm not saying that it didn't help Tennessee out, but the only reason why Alabama really lost that game was because of the mistakes that they made. And that muff punt, that was one of the biggest things that had happened. Penalties, I mean, you guys got 14 or 15 penalties for over 100 yards
17.
or something like that. Like that wasn't it over 100 yards or something? Either way.
Yeah, it was definitely over 100 yards. Yeah.
Way
Like
too many
180.
penalties. The most undisciplined team I've ever seen. And that's from watching Florida last year when we got 8 false starts in one game. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. And I will say, all the things being said, though, I was impressed with Tennessee. I mean, you'd say about the muff punt, and that is a huge factor. But Tennessee drops the ball on their own 8-yard line and lets Bama go straight in for a score, which everybody in the nation probably thought, oh, well, it's over. Alabama's at 49-42. And the whole time when Alabama came back, I'm thinking they're better mentally equipped for this. They're going to come back. They're going to win this thing. But Tennessee just kept taking shots, getting up off the mat, coming back. So credit to them. I mean, both teams didn't play great, but it was a very good football game, and the last person standing made the plays to get it done.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on quickly to winner, chicken dinner. All right, I will start. In light of the Alabama-Tennessee game, I would like to crown my winner, chicken dinner to Hendon Hooker and the Jalen Hyatt duo. I mean, they were all over the place. And as Noah said, Alabama seemingly doesn't have a secondary similar to Florida. So at least Noah and I can finally relate to something because both of our secondaries are just atrocious. So anyways, Jalen Hyatt, 6 receptions, 207 yards for 5 touchdowns. That's pretty crazy. Those are some Kyle Pitts numbers right there if Jalen Hyatt was a tight end. So, Craig, who you got?
Well, I think it's a really good one that you came up with there because that receiver at Tennessee and the quarterback obviously did a phenomenal job. But I'm going to go West Coast on us. I'm going to go with the Utah Utes pulling a big win out of their hat and go with their quarterback, Cameron Rising. 30 of 44, 415 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 92.5 QBR, and then 11 carries for 60 yards and 3 touchdowns. I believe he scored the game-winning 2-point conversion as well. They're in the waning seconds of the ball game, and that's a huge win for the Utes.
All right, TJ, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I don't care that they lost. I don't care. Give me Bryce Young as my winner chicken dinner.
Homer.
I don't care. Look at this. 35 of 52, 455 yards, 2 touchdowns. I can't believe our team wasted a performance like that on an L. Thank you very much, Craig. But still, that is a phenomenal game. It doesn't matter whether you won or you lost. I mean, against an SEC defense, I don't really know how good Tennessee's defense is, but
it's not good.
Like 455 yards, good completion percentage.
Tennessee,
he did all he could.
2022 Tennessee is 2020 Florida. Change my mind.
They're a lot better than.
Well, yes, they are, but it is in similar statute to 2020 Florida. Fun and gun. Dan Mullen. Does that mean Josh Heupel will turn out like Dan Mullen? Who knows?
Oh.
I hope so. That'd be funny.
I wish, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good winner chicken dinner, even though it's a homer pick. But still, I don't think Bryce Young will win the Heisman this year.
No.
I think him being out for one game didn't help, especially with Hendon Hooker, like, literally putting up numbers every single week. I mean, he just had his first interception in that game in literally forever. So, Hendon Hooker, Blake Corum for Heisman. Yeah. Might be an interesting race this year.
Don't forget my man at Ohio State.
CJ Stroud.
Oh, CJ Stroud, yeah, he's probably gonna.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I would like to see Hendon Hooker win. He's a good guy. I like him. So.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with that in mind, we will now go on to our guest picker for this week, Shane Luthe, Flippin Rejects, the one who made these fantastic stickers and these fantastic stickers. This is his YouTube channel. We'll talk about it in the segment. He made these fantastic stickers for us, as I said, and as I keep reiterating, just share a post and say that you want the sticker, and we will give away. Look, we have this whole stack of stickers that are just waiting to be claimed by you fans. So
I want one. I don't have Instagram. I can't share anything. Send me one, please.
Email. I don't know. Just share the video on any platform. Anything. We'll accept anything. And we're generous, right? We're a generous peoples.
We're generous people.
So we will gladly give away free stickers, especially for some representation. Look, you can put it on a water bottle, just like this one right here, with a bunch of stickers on it. So, yeah. So anyways, Shane is our guest picker for this week. So let us move on, and we will get him on the show. All right. Thank you for Shane for coming on the show, because it is episode 10, celebrating our 10th episode, gone by quick. So we've been celebrating that throughout the entirety of the show. We are going to flip the script a little bit, and instead of us asking our guest picker, Shane, questions, he will be asking us the questions. So we will see what he has in store for us. Shane, just head it off and go right into it.
All right, I'm going to start off, since my setup is similar to Noah's. I'm going to start off with my questions for Noah. You and I have a lot in common. I was born, and 3 years later, Coach K went to Duke. So I've been living in a dynasty my entire life, similar to you in Alabama. Now,
yes.
How do you deal with people who question your loyalty? Like, are you a real fan, or are you just rooting for a team that wins consistently? Except for yesterday.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that. But yeah, I get that question a lot. Like, am I really an Alabama fan? And yes, I definitely am. My entire family is from Alabama. I mean, both sides of my grandparents, they're from Alabama. They've all been rooting for Alabama forever. So I don't know. It's just been ingrained in me since I was little that I can't root for anyone else. So that's what.
Fair enough. And then you have all the gear there. So that's definitely a sign. All right. So TJ, my question for you was, what are EMF's plans for the off season? Will there be a blog or an EFM website?
Now let me stop you there, Shane. According to the legend Josh Pate, shout out to Josh Pate. Yeah, Shane, if you haven't watched Josh Pate, I guess you know Shane's not a huge football fan in advance, because of all the Duke stuff. You can kind of assume that he's more of a basketball guy. But anyways, Josh Pate, Late Kick podcast, blah blah blah. There is no O word, because we're always constantly going, always on the road to success. So no off season, so we'll keep that word in italics. But plans for that O word. I mean, we can start a blog. We're always open to ideas from the fans. Create a website here and there. But we'll keep chugging along. I mean, I think we'll post more scarcely during the season just to give us a break from stuff. But we'll definitely have more time to actually sit down and say, okay, what are our plans for the show going forward? And just what new ideas we can bring to the table every week, so we can keep you guys enjoying the show. But if, we're, as I said, open to fan suggestions. So if there's any segment that you want to see added onto the show, or just an idea of, any guest picker that you want on the show, or if you are a guest picker that you want to be on the show, reach out to us and we'll get you on. But so anyways, no O word allowed on this show.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are the plans.
And my follow-up to you is this: on your 2 EMF on the road segments, you went to the Florida game and the Jacksonville Jaguar game. Do you take any responsibility for those losses?
I don't know. I don't even know. Because the first Florida game I went to was Florida Vanderbilt, and that was a blowout. And then the next game I went to right after that was the Jags game in January versus the Colts, which kept them out of the playoffs. So I'm pretty good on those 2 games, but we hadn't started EMF then. And now that we've started it, now we're losing. So I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. Both of the 2 games that I went to, which I have not, I guess at this point I'll have posted the Jags recording, but I haven't yet as of Sunday. But I'll get on that because it wasn't a very interesting game. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, it sucked. It was terrible. So anyways, yeah, I don't even know about that. So no comment.
Awesome. I'll get to Craig next. I see our time might be running quick. So Craig, Coach C, do you still hold any records at the Naval Academy?
I believe, honestly, the only one that I have still is that Army-Navy game record of rushing touchdowns in the game, 6 rushing touchdowns in the 2002 Army game. I don't think anybody's beat that. That was a single game record for a quarterback for a while. And then the name that you're about to hear actually pretty much smashed anything I ever did at Navy. Keenan Reynolds. He had a phenomenal, actually he's a Nashville product, I believe, and did maybe Good Pasture, I believe.
Yeah.
And had a phenomenal career at Navy, set so many really national records from a rushing standpoint. And he actually broke the single game rushing touchdown record by a quarterback with 7. And he did it in 3 overtimes, just a little asterisk there, but it's still, the Army-Navy game is still a record. So that's the only one I hold.
Awesome. All right. My follow-up for that is, were there any time as a player or a coach, because you've done both, where you had or thought about having I'm a man, I'm 40 type moment?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, I love that rant. I never did it in the context that Gundy did, where it was the paper news writing something and getting offended or upset about that. But when I was the head coach at Capital University, we went to these recruiting fairs for Division III. We went down and they literally brought in all the kids and all the information. It's like a one-stop speed dating type of recruiting fair. You get to see all the information from the coaches. Then if it's a big one, the kids come in, you get to meet them. And all your teams from the conference are down there. And so I was a newer head coach trying to, make our way and do well and, promoting our program on social media. Well, I saw one of the assistant coaches from another school in our league had tweeted out saying that he found out from a recruit that another school was saying that they didn't have an engineering program, and he thought that was pretty funny that we were talking smack about their programs when they did have an engineering program and all that. So basically, I saw indirectly calling me out because we didn't say anything about it. I'm the only person that said anything to those kids, and we did not have an engineering program at Capital. I said probably they misunderstood that. I would never talk about another school negatively. And so I called their head coach. He wasn't there. I called him and said, hey man, listen, your assistant coach is tweeting this out. I'm assuming it's about me. He's holding something against me. I can guarantee you it was not me that said anything. And if y'all have an issue with it, why don't you come to me first? Because you obviously don't know me and that's not how I operate. So kind of want to set the record straight with the head coach, and because he actually like retweeted it and made a comment before I called him up. And so I called them out on it, said, listen, I'm not saying this stuff. You guys need to talk to me if you feel like I'm saying something about your program. Be a man about it, because I'm a man. I'm 40. Bring it to me.
We can take this out back behind our non-existent engineering department. And I got one last one for all three of you, and I can tell you my answer after I ask it. But is there if you could see any game live, past, present, or even in the future, what would it be? And Craig, you can't say like an A/B answer of I'd like to go back and see myself play so I can see what everybody else saw type of answer. But my answer would be that the game with the play, the band's on the field at the end of the game, guy runs in for a touchdown, and sorry, TJ, he completely just demolishes a trombone player in the end zone.
Cal versus Stanford.
Right? Yeah, 1982, I think. I'd like to see that one.
Nice.
I guess I'll start. I would love to go back to 2018 national championship game against Georgia, and Tua throws the second and 26. I would just love to be there live. Like, I don't know if I would have like actually survived like what happened after that. I would probably like have a heart attack or something at the age of 13.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would probably be, I mean, I think one of the biggest ones up there for me would be Tennessee, Florida. Felipe Franks to Tyree Cleveland, last play of the game. Touchdown in the end zone. Swamp totally went nuts. I can't remember what year. I think it was like 2017, 16. The years when we weren't very good. But that was when Tennessee wasn't very good either. So, haha. But, yeah, I mean, that it was an insane asylum. And that's what Mick Hubert said. He said, this place is an insane asylum. Oh, my, as Mick Hubert would say. So, either that or the Auburn game from 2019. Historic game in the Swamp. One of the best environments that I've ever watched on TV. It was a really close game, and we pulled away at the end. So that'd be a great environment to go to as well. So,
yeah, the first one, honestly, that popped in my head was the band is on the field. The band is on the field. So great minds think alike there, Shane. And there's a lot of great games I'd love to go back, a lot of environments I'd love to see. But one that just popped into my head after you took mine away was Cumberland, Georgia Tech, 222-0. I mean, yeah, that's a boring game, right? But I still cannot process how that score actually happened. So I think I'd love to at least see the box score or something, but also be there in person to see how that actually happened. I just don't think you can score that many points in the allotted time that a game has, honestly.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'd also like really want to see, Tebow and Werfel play like at some point, just because I was not alive. I was like one, but I'd like to, see the jump past LSU. That would be a cool one to see. So
a game like that, Craig, reminds me of back in the day with the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, and how they ran up scores back in the 80s and 90s, I guess, where they were just picking cheerleaders off the cheer squad and giving them a uniform, see who hadn't scored yet. It's like Like, just get everybody in here.
No doubt, no doubt. They were trying to impress those pollsters, get their rankings up.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And
All right.
Spurrier would be all upset about, people complaining that he scored so many points. I don't see what the problem is.
In the words of Steve Spurrier, you can't spell citrus without UT. Exactly. But all right. Thank you so much, Shane. But actually, I'm just now remembering, before we go, Shane, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel, Flippin Rejects, that we have these special stickers here that Shane made.
Hey.
And yes, throwback to the sticker post. Shane is the one who made these amazing, amazing stickers. So we're still open to, if you share a post of ours, just say I want the sticker or something, and we'll send you a sticker wherever you are. So anyway, Shane, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
All right, so it's called Flippin Rejects, and basically what I used to do was I would take items that I found at like a thrift store or a Goodwill or something like that, and remake them into something else, repurpose them into something else, like an old rotary telephone, and turn it into a lamp, stuff like that. And so I got started with that I wrote a TV show about 3 years ago, and it was called Flippin Rejects. And a buddy of mine and I were going to be kind of on this reality show where we would take each other, like take a request, like we would build a chair or something like that, and then go to a thrift store and buy items completely unrelated to a chair. And we would have to build a chair out of that item. And we would bet prior to the show that whoever could get the most likes, or at that point we were thinking about going with an audience, whoever liked theirs the best would win, and the loser would have to do a consequence. And so mainly the consequences were like, we have to burn down your kid's playhouse or something like that. So it was really kind of ridiculous consequences. And so we pitched that and had a company in California that really liked it, and they flew out here to Nashville, and we ended up filming a pilot for it. And then that was in late 2019. In early 2020, the world changed with the pandemic, and so that put everything on hold. So that happened, and it really shut down all production as far as TV shows out in California. And so they were no longer able to continue working on the show or pitching the show to networks. And so it's been, a few years after that, and I still get in contact with the production company, and they're still hoping that it will be able to be pitched and bought by a network at some point, but I'm really not holding my breath anymore for it. It was a fun idea, and I had hoped it would go somewhere, but if it didn't, I'm super happy either way. So, but that's about it. And then I started the YouTube channel just to kind of continue that creative vibe and keep that thought and the creative process going. So, and I know you said kind of subscribe to my channel, but everybody needs to subscribe to this channel. EMF, get them numbers up.
Yes, and Shane is one of our, you can see Shane in the comments of every single video. He is a very trustworthy and loyal member of the EMF, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Gang? What do we even call this?
The EMF gang.
The EMF.
Yeah.
I don't know, we got to call our fans something.
So there's a lot of names you could call it.
Yeah.
Community.
Community, yes, the EMF community for now. Hey, here's a good idea. Go to our Instagram and just drop some names down in the comments of some pictures, or go down in the comments below and drop some names. What do you guys want to be called? What's the fan base want to be addressed by? So anyway,
just a quick since I don't know Noah, and I did this to be funny for him, I have two funny stories, one Craig story and a TJ story, which I don't know if you remember, TJ, but about 10 years ago, me, my wife, and our oldest son came and stayed in your house.
I do remember that.
I think my oldest son might have destroyed your Pirates of the Caribbean Lego set.
That I don't remember, but that's, hey, me and my Legos.
I don't know if he like completely destroyed it, but I know he took it apart enough to where putting it back would have been tough. So, and my Craig story is, so where I live in our neighborhood, we had a neighbor 2 doors down from us, and he also had a wife named Maribeth. And so at one night, I got this text saying, "Hey, Maribeth is really close to reaching this goal for selling." I can't remember what it was. It was like Mary Kay or something like that. And I was like, "Yeah, man, sure, I'll buy something, you know, and let me bring you a check." And the text kept saying, "No, you can't do that. Just do it on the website." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm 2 houses down from you. Like, I can come bring you a check right now or cash, whatever." And the text just kept saying, "No, you need to do it this way. You need to do it on the website." And I was like getting mad at the guy, my neighbor. And I'm like, I'm going to come down there and just talk to you anyway, you know? And so then I go on the website and it says Maribeth Candeto. And I'm like, I've been mad at my neighbor this whole time, but it was Craig texting me.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize that.
Craig was
both
starting.
in Mary Kay too. Wow.
Yeah. Craig starting in neighborhood brawl.
I'm a man, I'm 40. That's what I do.
Yeah, seriously. All right. That's phenomenal stories. Phenomenal. I still love Legos. Anyways, all right. Moving on. Thank you, Shane, for all that. Go subscribe to Flippin Rejects on YouTube. We can put the link for that down in the description below. So let us move on to week 8. Wow. I mean, we're past the halfway point in the season. Shane, we're almost to basketball season. It's only 22 days away. I mean, come on.
One could hope.
But let us go on to some week 8 picks. And we will go in the same order that we go in every week. So that'll be, I think it's me. No, it's, what is it? Craig, Noah, me, and then Shane. So we'll start it off with UCLA versus Oregon. Craig, start us off. Who you got?
I got Oregon. I think Oregon's playing well. I believe they're coming off a week off, and I just think they got a real shot to contend for the Pac-12 and be UCLA's first loss.
And this is a battle of number 9 UCLA and number 10 Oregon, and it is in Eugene. So,
Flip-flop.
Oh, what? Flip-flop?
Yeah, 9 UCLA, 10 Oregon.
Didn't I say that?
I thought you said 9 Oregon. It doesn't matter. One of them is going to not be in the same ranking the next week.
Yes, that is
I'm picking UCLA. I mean, their quarterback has been playing lights out football this entire season. It is at Oregon, which is very good for them, but I'm still going to pick UCLA.
I think I'm going to end up having to go probably UCLA too. I think Oregon might come in as a favorite. I'm not on the stats. I'll get them up later, and I'll maybe flash the graphic up there. But I might have to lean on UCLA with this one. DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's playing phenomenal football. That whole team is just trending up. I think Oregon's kind of at a stalemate right now, just with their team, even though Bo Nix is trending up. But it's definitely going to be a close game, and I will, maybe change my pick on the top 20. So I'm not sure. But before we continue, I would like to read out last week's guest picker standings that we just forgot about. So Maribeth still leads 4-1. Lonnie second at 3-2, and Jake coming in at third at 4-3, and then Gabe at 4-5. So those are those. Shane, good luck to that, because Maribeth has been in the lead for 2 weeks now. So, and Craig and Noah both went 3-4 on last week's picks, and I don't want to say what I went because I did bad. So.
Well,
anyway.
just go ahead and mark it down 6-0, new leaderboard. But I'm gonna actually go UCLA and Oregon. I'm gonna go with Oregon. I know they got destroyed by Georgia in that first game. I think they scored 3 points. They're down in the Georgia heat. They're not used to that. I mean, they're Oregon. So it's like they proceeded to not score any less than 41 points for the rest of their game. So I think they'll have a good time, and I think they'll win this game.
Nice.
All right.
Ducks.
Yeah, good pick. All right, next we have Texas versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ranked number 11. Texas coming in at number 20, and it is at Oklahoma State.
Yes.
Greg, start us off.
They're very disappointed with how Oklahoma State finished the game this past week, but it's at home. I believe Texas will be the favorite. Barely,
3-point favorite.
3 points. Yeah.
Yep.
I got to go with the Cowboys at home, though, since I've been a big Cowboys supporter. I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon just yet.
Nice.
I'm gonna pick Texas. Texas plays well when they're up against, the big name teams. They played really well against Alabama. They played phenomenal against Oklahoma. Took a step back last week against Iowa State, but I think they come back swinging this week. So hook them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree. I mean, just even though Oklahoma State, they only lost that one game, I still think Texas is still trending up, because if Bijan Robinson has himself a game, and especially with the way that Quinn Ewers has been playing, they're going to pull it out with the win, even though Iowa State almost beat them. But Iowa State had, they still do have a really good defense, and I don't think Oklahoma State has as good of a defense, after Jim Knowles left. So hook 'em.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I know Craig likes to say, teach me how to Gundy. And so I'm going to go with that. And I know Noah brought up that he has a son named Gunnar Gundy, and he is actually on the football team. And, the coach doesn't play his son, so that makes me laugh. And also they play in Boone Pickens Stadium, named after the oil tycoon T. Boone Pickens. And with a name like that, you get my support.
Nice, good pick. All right, Ole Miss versus LSU, 3:30 primetime CBS game. I mean, not exactly primetime, but it's CBS. So SEC on CBS, which that'll come to an end in a couple of years. I don't know. Are they going to steal our theme song? Is the Big Ten going to take it away? I don't know. I say keep it, but whatever. We'll see what happens. Anyways, number 7, Ole Miss versus unranked LSU, coming off that big win at Florida. We have already talked about that. But Ole Miss comes in at a 2-point favorite in Death Valley.
I have to go with LSU. Brian Kelly has got the boys on a roll. Went to the Swamp and got a huge win. Ole Miss is bound to get beat. Their defense has not been playing great. And I was actually surprised by LSU's offense and Jordan Jefferson this past week. So Mississippi's going to be favored on the road, but I got the Tigers in Death Valley.
I'm going to take Ole Miss to win. Lane Train's still rolling this year. That offense is electric, even if their defense is not electric. But I think that Ole Miss goes in there, covers the spread against LSU, gets a good win.
Hotty toddy, baby. Let's go.
Gosh almighty.
Jeez. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I like names, and so they have a long snapper named Carter Short. They also have a defensive end named Demon Clowney, and I know it's probably pronounced Demon or something like that, but I'm going to go with Demon because that's the way it's spelled. And they have a running back named Ulysses Bentley the Fourth. So I got to go with Ole Miss just for that reason.
Oh, that's great.
Ulysses Bentley the Fourth.
That's phenomenal.
I didn't even know that.
All right, next up on the slate, Mississippi State Fighting Pirates versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama ranked number 6 after coming off the loss to Tennessee, and Mississippi State coming off the loss to Kentucky, ranked number 24. It is 7 p.m. on ESPN, and it is at Alabama. Alabama comes in at a 21.5-point favorite, looking for a bounce-back win.
Poor Mississippi State. When's the last time Alabama's lost back-to-back games? I probably couldn't even name it, to be honest with you. So they're gonna get what's coming to them. Alabama's gonna roll Tide.
Roll Tide. No surprise. Alabama's gonna win. Every single time they lose, like the next week they come and like knock the doors off of the next team they play. I know last year they played Texas A&M, lost in a heartbreaker, and then won like 49-0 at Mississippi State. So roll Tide.
Yeah, I got Alabama easy. The 21.5-point favorite is, yeah, that's accurate. So I got the Tide for this one.
Yeah, I think that's unanimous. I'm going to go with Alabama. I mean, the way that they got beat yesterday, it's frustrating. I live in Tennessee. Tennessee is always Big Orange, and they're the most annoying fans. I mean, they're garbage. Like, my garbage man is a Tennessee fan, so like, they're garbage.
In the words of that guy who says he hates Tennessee, it's like looking at their stadium as like a garbage, what did they say, a garbage truck convention or something?
Yeah.
So
no doubt. Dirty.
So I think Alabama's going to come back and just, like Craig said, I feel for Mississippi State because they're about to get it.
Yeah, it's it's not going to be pretty. All right, next up, Minnesota Golden Gophers 4-2, coming off of what they lose last week.
They lost.
They lost to Illinois.
Yeah, which that's not a bad loss. I mean, Illinois is very much trending up. Anyways, Minnesota, yes, versus number 16 Penn State Nittany Lions, coming off their first loss at Michigan, blowout loss. It is at Penn State, 7:30 on ABC. Penn State comes in -5.5.
Penn State.
It's a whiteout.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough environment for Minnesota to go into. Penn State's going to win it.
I love Minnesota. I've won a national championship for them in NCAA 14. So I've always had a very small connection to the Gophers. But Penn State's going to win this one easy. Whiteout at Beaver Stadium. Like, come on. Nittany Lions.
Agreed. Penn State, roll Nittany Lions. But they had to use their whiteout for this game because I think it was Ohio State is on big noon kickoff.
Yeah.
Which is stupid because that whiteout is used to their advantage, because it's home field advantage. I mean, and when using that at night, lights out. They play lights out.
Yeah.
So roll Nittany Lions.
I go to Penn State as well. I don't have anything funny for that. I'm just going with them.
Yeah. All right. Last up on the slate, Kansas State versus TCU. When I did the picks, I thought this was going to be a better game. But after TCU has, really established themselves as the force to be reckoned with, I don't think it will be such a close game, than I thought it would be. So who you guys got?
I'll challenge you on that. I think it will be a close game. TCU's played really well and won some good football games. Don't get me wrong, but they're squeaking by, and I don't think they're dominant over anybody. And Kansas State is a blue-collar, hard-nosed football team. I guess it's on the road at TCU, which TCU is kind of a sleepy place to play. Played there, got my tail whipped there, but it wasn't a real impressive game day scenario, and I'm sure it hasn't changed a ton. And watching Oklahoma State yesterday, it was not a very hostile environment, even though Oklahoma State choked. So I'd say Kansas State's got a shot, but I'd still have to go with TCU. Have to go with TCU at home. That quarterback's awesome. I love that guy for TCU. Tough guy.
Yeah. I'm very impressed by Kansas State this year, especially by Adrian Martinez. He was terrible at Nebraska. He's actually been playing really well. I wonder what Kansas State would be ranked this year if they wouldn't have lost to Tulane, because they're 5-1 in number 17. But TCU is only a 4.5 favorite, but I still think TCU wins in a close one.
I got TCU covering the spread. You know why? Because it's at night. TCU at night. There's always some funny business going on there with TCU at night. They always manage to win at night somehow. It's always the Big 12 after dark. That and the Pac-12 after dark. Those are just as bad. I mean, I'm trying to do my picks, and we see Utah beating USC after dark. I'm like, come on, man. So anyways, they're always finicky, those two conferences at night. So
every Pac-12 game is after.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna go with TCU. Even though they took the L to Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with them because a good buddy of mine named David went there, and he always tells people he went to TCU, even if they don't ask. He's just like, hey, I went to TCU. It's like, okay, we get it. And just for that reason, I'm going to go with Horned Frogs.
Nice. Some good picks for this week. Actually, it's kind of a good break from this past week, which was full of upsets, as we've already talked about on the show.
And I changed some of my picks now that I've heard Shane's, and he's going 6-0.
Copy.
Just kidding.
6-0.
For now.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, kind of a much needed break from, I'm kind of putting that in asterisk air quotes for right now, because it's seemingly an easy week of college football where everything should go as planned, but any given Saturday.
True.
So that is very true, as Noah and I learned this week. So, all right. Thank you so much, Shane, for being our guest picker on the show. Subscribe to Flippin Rejects, and maybe we'll have you on another time during basketball season. How about that? We'll do EMF basketball edition.
Thank you, and it's been a pleasure. And really like what you guys are doing, and keep it up. It's very entertaining, even for someone who doesn't necessarily like college football that much. I really enjoy you guys' show, and it's great. And I'm really super excited to see what you guys do next.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Shane.
you so much.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much again to Shane, Flippin Rejects, for coming on to the show, being our guest picker for this week. And now let us get straight on to Tales from the Top 20. Craig, introduce that for us.
All right, Tales from the Top 20. It was a tough week in Top 20. Two weeks in a row that have been really tough with a lot of upsets. We had 16 people out of 28 that were 12-8 or worse on the top 20 this week. But let's get to it. So our highest of the week was David Candeto at 15-5. We had 4 people at 14-6 with Carrie Beth, Jake, Russell, and Jerry.
Terrible.
So nice job there. Our big mover for the week was David. He jumped up 5 spots this week in the overall standings. So great job. Our Bulls Market category, David, again, 5 spots up. Carrie Beth up 3 spots, then Jerry up 3 spots. So those people are making some moves with a good week. And then our Bears Market, those that fell a little bit were Caleb, 5 spots down. Ted, after like 4 straight weeks of having great climb, he fell down 3 spots. Lindsay down 3. And then our leader that has been the leader for like the past 4 weeks, Tammy, dropped 3 spots. So she's no longer number 1. DJ loves it.
Let's go.
Wait, you don't want your own mom to do good?
She's going to ground you, TJ.
This is competition, man. You don't even understand.
You're still losing to her, by the way. But
I don't care. That's something.
All right. Who should work for Vegas? Carrie Beth. She was
Not me.
1 upset pick, and she was 1-0. Jake picked 3 upsets, and he was 2-1, so 67%. Russell picked 3 upsets, had 5 total upsets, and won 3 of those. And Jerry the same thing, so 3 and 2 in those upsets. So that's pretty good because most people that picked upsets did not get them right. Shaken not stirred. Dan and Lucy both picked 12 upsets this week out of 20. They picked 12. Dan actually hit on 50% of those, so not bad. Lucy can't say the same. Pick of the week, same guy, Dan. Stanford over Notre Dame. He's the only one to pick it. Yes.
No way. He's working with some black magic there.
Yes. He lives in Atlanta. He's probably got an inside source somewhere in some of those big companies. No. But 16.5 point road dog. He picks them. The only one they win. So great job, Dan. You're our pick of the week. All right. Top 20 standings. John, Delane, and Carrie Beth are all tied for first now. Then you've got Tammy and Jake tied for second. Russell is now behind them a game, and the list goes on and on and on from there. So we got some movement in the top 20, a little bit of a change on the leaderboard, but wipe the tears because we're back at it for one more week. We got another shot at it.
That's for sure. Oh, man. I mean, it's just like the AP poll. I mean, everyone's going every single week is different. Can there just be some consistency? Actually, no. Shake them up. Just let Florida be better. That's all I'll say. That's we'll have already talked about it, but
whatever. Florida needs to let Florida be better.
Yeah. Good point. Good point, my friend. All right. Anyways, we will once again have a great shout out to Shane for being our guest picker. We look forward to next week's show, episode 10. That's all I'll say, guys. I mean, we've gotten this far, which is crazy. I mean, 10 weeks we've been doing this thing. You know, it's hard to believe that we've come this far, just from starting it, you know, a little before the actual season started, during the off season. But yeah, it's been great. We're gonna continue it until, you know, I guess we'll be off to college soon. Noah's watching the Jags game. Noah, I can tell you're watching the Jags game.
So sad.
Are we losing yet?
No.
Not yet. Anyways, we'll have to do some EMF college specials with me and Noah, because we'll be opening up our college commitment.
I might be going back to college. You never know. Get my master's and doctorate. Who knows?
Master's at in Eat More Chicken. But yeah, I don't know. We'll keep you guys updated on college for us too. You know, because we have open commitments at this point. I'll be taking my music talents to XYZ University. Not
come
football.
on down. Hey, let me recruit you. Your shirt there. Why don't you come back down to DeLand and come to Stetson?
Stetson University. Go Hatters. All right. Anyways, thanks for a great show. As always, we always have fun making this show. There is never a dull moment in this show. We always have fun. So, yeah, look forward to next week's episode of Eat More Football. Have another guest picker on, and we will see you next week. Happy 10th episode.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Eat More Football, and then send us any of your questions regarding the show or college football or any sport in general, and we'll answer it in our What's Cooking section at eatmorefb@gmail.com. That's Instagram and Twitter at Eat More Football, and then our email is eatmorefb@gmail.com. See you next time.